And I am Keisha Johnson.
And thank you for joining us for illustrations of your life journey. Today's topic that we're going to discuss and get into is respecting people's capacity to love, right?
Yes.
That's so important.
We gotta pause. You gotta let me know when it's time. I don't know what it's cueing in. I'm like, are you done?
No, it's just like, yes. Okay, so
okay.
We were talking about people's capacity to love, right? And we wrote down the description, and we wrote it down because it was... And when you think of love, when you look in the Bible, and the definition of it is, love is patient, love is kind, love is
long-suffering,
not boastful, not prideful, quick to forgive, slow to anger. And for me, I feel like I have the capacity of doing all of those things. But when you get into relationships or when you have friendships, and people say, I've cared for you the very best I know how, and I've loved you the very best I know how, can you really be upset if it's not up to par with what you're capable of? Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's life experiences are different. And sometimes people love based off of how they were taught, what they were seeing, what they're exposed to. And if that's all they know, that's all they know. Let's, like, in regards to parents too.
Everybody, right? So
everybody.
When you say that definition that you read off, there's many definitions of love. I always like to go biblical because I feel like bottom line, right? This is the foundation of it all, and and so those are some really key attributes when you think about those each of those items. And I think as humans, we all at various times in our lives and various stages need to work on each one of those attributes, right?
I agree.
Because we can get angry. You know, it's human. You know, somebody does something horrible, you're gonna get angry. I'm, you know. Are you kidding? You did this to me.
I know.
So those are all natural emotions to have, but love comes from a deeper place where you really are forgiving and unconditional, and it's deep, and you want to at least maintain it to the best of your ability. But you know, this is a pretty conscious issue that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, because like, don't you want to love somebody that is equally yoked and on the same level? If somebody can't give you what you feel you need, and you don't have the patience for them to grow, when I say that, it's more so like you get upset at somebody's process. That's the one thing that I always say. You cannot be upset with anybody's growth process and the way that they love and how they love. If they put an effort to learn, that's a little more understandable. But if they say, this is where I'm at, this is all I know, this is all I can offer you, really look at that and say, you know what? He or she said this is all that they can do. Right. Is that enough for me? If that is enough for me, do you walk away? Or do you stay and try to change them? Isn't that what we do all the time? We try to change or fix?
Yes. So, but here's the thing. So when we start off in life, and we're just in relationships automatically from birth, right? But as we get into high school and get into puberty, and as we grow up, we're falling into these relationships that we have no insight, no consciousness about. We're just flowing through it, right? So we're acting in all of our normal emotions, not in a lot of ego, and not processing everything. So I'm going to be honest, what I tended to do is take it personal. I think a lot of us take it personal right away.
Ego.
You know, and we're basing it, like she said, on our perspective of what love is. I mean, I know I have a huge love perspective. I want to love you. I want to give you gifts. I want to tell you, hold your hand. I want to do so many things to.
Is that your love language?
That's my love language is just expression. So some people love, and you will never know it if you're not inside of their brain, because they don't express it in certain ways. Me, I'm very expressive. You're not going to not know that I don't love you.
I like expression.
I'm going to bring you something. I'm going to say something. I'm going to check on you. I'm going to, if we're in a romantic relationships, I'm not going to cheat. You know, just things you would think, I would think, you know, different people are different. I would think that would be a given. Right? So it's very important what you're saying, because I tend to take it personal. Well, in order to respect someone's capacity to love, number one, you can't take it
your
personal.
ego
You have
out
to be
of it.
taking yourself out of it, which one of the things about love, selfless.
No.
So you have to take yourself
really
out.
think about that.
Yeah.
The selfless part.
Yeah, I mean, it's so deep. I mean, what do you think about just the experiences you had along the way that were negative that impacted your future relationships in terms of how you were looking at your partner's or your friend or that person's love towards you?
Well, here's my thing. Because I have a really, really big heart. And so this is how I did it. And I had to start with my parents. Okay? And a lot of times one of the things that I hear is that kids grow up and say, you didn't love me. Or you didn't do this for me. But,
Listen.
yeah, I had to really take a step back, take my ego, take my feelings out of it, and look at my parents as if they were young. And really say, gosh, I think that they did the very best that they could. What I try to do is, and this helps with the compassion, the empathy, forgiveness, and all that jazz, is who taught them how to love? Okay? Who taught them how to love? Who taught my parents how to love? And did they love my parents enough to allow my parents to reflect the type of love I feel like I want? And then when you think about that, well, that's my grandparents. Well, who taught my grandparents how to love? And it just goes on and on and on. So you have to look at it and say, you know what? It's a pattern. And as adults, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. And I had to look at my parents, say they loved me and did the very best that they could. And then I take that into my relationship. For example, my ex felt like protecting and providing is the best way to love somebody. Protecting and providing. But also thinking, but he wasn't focusing on my love language 100%. And I had to look at him and say, you know what? I need more than protecting and providing. But if that's all he knows how to do, and that's all he's capable of doing, do I sit there and I try to change him? You can have patience and see if the other person is willing to grow or cater to your love language. But if not, if this is all that they know how to do and they're stuck in their pattern, then you have to say, you know what, God's still working on you. Or maybe you're just not for me. Maybe you're just not for me. God works on people in his way, in his timing. We're all on a journey. That's why we're here. We're all on our own different paths. And just because you meet somebody in a certain season of their life, you either have compassion or you wait, or you say, you know what, I want to meet somebody who is equally yoked with me right now. But you can't get upset. You can't get an attitude. You can't start wanting to change them and fix them, because then it doesn't work. And you allow yourself, this is on top of my head. You give people permission to hurt you because you didn't stick to your boundaries.
Wow.
And you were not clear. And you gave them permission to hurt you because you knew they were not equally yoked, but you're sitting there thinking, I can change you, I can fix you.
Right.
Or if I just, it really is a level of manipulation. Instead of just respecting, this is who they are, this is where they are.
Right.
They showed me when they say, when people show you who they are, believe them. So if somebody shows you who they are, you believe them, you assess, and then you make the very best choice for your heart. Right?
Right. Ideally, right? So this is what we were hoping to relay to you to think of as you go forward into your relationships. Now, obviously we're going through these relationships. We don't already have this premeditated. But just like she was saying, the parents, right? When you come from a line of people that were like your grandmother, then how she loved your mother, how your mother loved you. So there's a pattern here, and it's and not to be redundant, but it's something to really focus on. That's why I even tell my daughter and myself, which is something I didn't know, is look at the person's family dynamic when you enter into a relationship, even a friendship. If your best friend got a mom that's on the phone all the time gossiping and doing different various things that you're wondering, I didn't see my mom doing that, or I know that that's not aligned up with what what I was taught. So think about that. I'm not saying that you have to shut those people off, but that's where the boundaries that we were talking about in our last message come from. You have to be conscious about your relationships. And so when you're conscious about your relationships, you understand where you are, and you're looking at a person from where they are. So it becomes where expectations started dwindling, right? Respect. If I come in and I expected when I met this man, let's just call him John. When I met John, John with the brown sparkle in his eye, right? So I met John, and I expected if I fall in love with John, John's gonna fall in love with me. I'm gonna say I love you. He's gonna say I love you back. Well, that's not always how it works, okay? John could have gotten out of a relationship recently where his heart was broken. He could have been, abused as a child. These things play into how a person's
love.
Right. Yeah. It plays into how they play out in relationships. And so when you're just wandering haphazardly through life and meeting people, with this open heart, you don't really know what a person has been through. You assume that it's all innocence. It's all fair. And there's, what do they say? Nothing's fair in love and war, right? Okay. So it's really about, ideally what we're saying is what should be looked at, but we don't, and that's why we're bringing it up to you today, so that you can focus and understand as we encounter different relationships, how to best love a person. Not only how to respect their capacity to love, but how can we love them best where they are.
I look at it like just respect. Just really, really respect who people are. Stop trying to change people. Work on yourself. Instead of trying to fix people and change people, you don't know where they're at in their season. You don't know what God is working on in their life. So respect people for who they are. Don't try to fix them. Don't try to change them. But don't give over your keys to your heart.
Right. Respect doesn't mean, okay, now I'm just going to let you open up my life to you and respect you no matter how you treat me or however.
Or in hopes that you change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We are big changers. A lot of us women, I know everybody's different, but I know we're nurturers. We're like, we can improve them if we just help them. Sometimes people need to heal on their own and in their own time. And you can help them if you're not trying to force them into your box.
You give you give yourself the opportunity to sit back and really look at who they're showing you. Pay attention to what people show you. And again, if that is the very best that they can do, really respect that. Respect. They've given you their best. Now that may not be up to par with you, but they've really given you their best, and really that's it. That's all you can ask for. So don't go into any of these relationships, friendships, workships, relationships, none of these ships with your own manipulating agenda. Find out who this person is. Do you want them in your circle? Is it benefiting you for your highest good? If not, then say, you know what? I respect you. I hear you. You're not for me. Or put up those healthy boundaries that we talk about all the time. Please feel free. We're going to wrap up, but please feel free to reach out, leave comments. Let us know what you think about capacities and boundaries and getting people in your circle. And then check us out on social media. Click the link below.
Let's communicate and talk with each other and keep each other in the loop so we can grow together.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.